Hey everyone, I'm Liz Perry and today I'm going to show you how to make basic clothes for your crochet dolls. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make a fitted shirt. This pattern is really easy to customize to any size doll, but I'll be making mine to fit this doll, my realistic body doll, and my basic doll. If you missed my other shirt tutorial, click the link on the top of the screen to find it because the first couple of steps are going to be exactly the same for this project. So I'm going to repeat the same thing I did to start my shirt in the other video, up until I finish increasing the bust. If you want to see how I did this in more detail, see my other video. Some things you'll need for this tutorial are a crochet hook. You can use any size you like. I'm going to use a size E. A pair of scissors, a yarn needle to sew in your ends. You'll need some bobby pins or stitch markers to keep track of your stitches, and you'll need yarn. You could really use any yarn to dress your doll, but I find a thinner yarn works better because it won't add too much bulk to your doll. So I'll be using crochet thread. If your doll is small enough, you could also use embroidery floss. And if you'd like a written pattern, you can find one in my Ravelry store. The link is in the description below. I'm going to start with a chain that's the same width of the neck opening I want to make for the shirt. So I'm going to chain 24 to create a low neckline shirt for this doll. Use pins to measure your chain against the body of your doll. If you want to make a higher neckline style, like I did for my basic doll, you should chain 12. You could work either in the round or in rows to make your garment. Work in rows if you want to sew the back closed when you're done. For my basic doll, I'll work in rows. And for my realistic doll, I'll work in the round. So slip stitch into the first chain to join in a circle. And chain 1 to count as the first stitch, and single crochet into the second chain. Next I need to increase 6 per row to widen the shoulder straps. I increased to every 4th stitch of the row for both shirts to widen the shoulders, so I added 1 row of increase for the low neck style, and 3 rows of increase for the high neck style. Next I'm going to single crochet until I get to where I want the first armhole to go. Then to create the armhole, I'm going to chain 4 and skip 6 stitches. Then single crochet in the next stitch and keep going until the middle front is reached. To make the bust for the low neck shirt, I'm going to increase 6 stitches in the middle of the work. But you should increase the same number you used when making the doll. Or if you're not adding a bust to the shirt, just single crochet in between the armholes instead, like I did for my basic doll. I'm not going to increase any stitches for the bust of this doll. Next, I'm going to repeat the same thing I did to create the first armhole to make another one on the other side. So single crochet until you get to where you want the next arm to go, then chain 4 and skip 6 stitches. And single crochet in the next stitch and until the end of the row. In the next 2 rows, to make the sides more straight, I'm going to do some increases and decreases under the armholes to even out the row. So single crochet until the chain's at the first armhole. Skip the first chain, increase the next 2 chains, and skip the last chain. I'm going to repeat that on the other side when I get to the other armhole. Next I'm going to continue the bust. If you want to keep making the bust bigger, continue to increase 6 times at the middle front. But to end the bust here, either add single crochets to elongate the bust, or rows of decrease to narrow the bust. I'll show you how to do that later in the video. But in this row, I'm going to single crochet at the bust until I get to the chains on the other side. Then skip the first chain, increase the second and third chain, and skip the fourth chain. Then single crochet until the end of the row. This next row is where this shirt style starts to differ from the loose fitting style. So in this row, I'm going to finish the curves at the armholes. So I'm going to single crochet 3 until I reach the stitch before the increases at the armholes that I made in the previous row. And I'm going to decrease the next 2 stitches together. To decrease, I'm going to place my hook through the front loops of the next 2 stitches, then pull up a loop through both of those stitches, and single crochet to decrease. Next, I'm going to increase the next 2 stitches. And decrease the next 2 stitches together. And I'm going to repeat the same thing on the other side for the next armhole. If you want to learn some different ways to decrease, or if you just want some more practice with decreasing and increasing, check out my increasing and decreasing tutorial by clicking the link in the description below. Alright, next I'm going to single crochet 1 more before I get to the bust. If you want your doll's bust to be bigger, you could continue to increase the same way you did in the previous row, or continue to elongate the bust by single crocheting. But I'm just going to end the bust here, so I'm going to decrease the same amount of stitches I did to increase the bust. Since I increased the bust 6 times, I'm going to decrease the bust 6 times in this row. So pull up a loop through the front loop of the next 2 stitches, and single crochet to decrease. So I'm going to do that 5 more times in the middle front of my row. Next, I'm going to single crochet 1 more until I reach the stitch before the increases I made at the next armhole. Then I'm going to decrease the next 2 stitches together, and increase the next 2 stitches, and then decrease the next 2 stitches, and single crochet 3 more to finish the row. And once again, for my basic doll, I did the same thing, except I didn't add any increases or decreases to the bust. If you want, you could continue to add rows of increase or decrease at the bust to make it bigger or smaller, or you could add a few rows of single crochet to lengthen the bust. I'm going to go on for just 1 more row of single crochet for my realistic doll. If you like, you could end the work here if you want to create a bra or crop top, or you could continue to make the full shirt. For my basic doll, since the body is so simple, I'm just going to add 4 more rows to elongate the shirt, and end the work right here. So I'm going to chain 1, and cut off a long tail of my yarn, and I'm going to use that tail to sew the back of the shirt closed when I'm done. To continue making the shirt fitted, I'm going to add some more decreases and increases to shape the shirt to the waist and hips of the doll. I'm going to start by gradually decreasing the sides of the garment for a couple of rows to create the waist. That means I'm going to decrease 2 times per side per row of decrease, but with 2 rows of normal single crochet in between every row of decrease. Again, use the same number of decreases or increases for the waist that you used when making your doll. You can decrease or increase more or fewer times depending on the size of your doll's waist. If the doll is very thin at the waist, decrease 2 times per side. For a medium waist, don't increase or decrease so that the width stays the same. For larger waists, increase 2 times per side instead of decreasing. Or if the doll's waist is even larger, increase even more times per row. Just measure against the doll. And continue to decrease with 2 rows of single crochet in between until you reach the desired width for the waist of your doll. For my doll's shirt, I decreased 2 times per side for 1 row. Then I single crocheted for 2 rows in between. Then decrease 2 times per side again for 1 more row. To create the hips, I'm going to do the same thing, except I'm going to gradually increase instead of decrease. That means that I'm going to increase 2 times per side per row of increase, but with 2 rows of normal single crochet in between every row of increase. Again, use the same number of increases or decreases for the hips that you used when making your doll. Continue to increase with 2 rows of single crochet in between until you reach the desired width for the hips of your doll. For my doll, I increased 2 per side for 1 row, then I single crocheted for 2 rows in between. And then I increased 2 per side again for 1 more row. If you're making a longer garment, you may want to widen the bottom of the shirt for the doll's rear. To do this, increase 2 to 6 times per row at the back, depending on the size of the doll's rear. Again, use the same number of decreases or increases you used when making the doll. For my doll, I increased 4 times at the back for 1 row. When you finish widening the bottom of the shirt, if you want to make it longer, just continue to add rows of single crochet until you reach the length you want. For my doll, I single crocheted for 2 more rows. Once you have the desired length, slip stitch to the first stitch of the row. Cut off your yarn and sew in the end. And now my shirts are done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, give it a like or share it on social media. In my next video, I'll show you how to add sleeves to the shirt. If you want to see more basic doll tutorials, you can find a playlist at the end of the video or check in the description below. If you want to help support me in making new videos, donate to my Patreon. It's entirely optional, but if you do, you can get some perks, like having access to my videos a week before they're posted here on YouTube. You can find more information about that in the description below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, subscribe to my channel and I'll see you all next time. Bye!